With so many moneymakers in the game, getting rich is easy, right? Well, most of them require billions worth of gear, relentless grinding for many days, and having friends playing on the same schedule. On the other hand, here's Ted. He's your average fella, but his bank...
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
I have prepared 14 different moneymakers to rescue your bank from poverty, ranging from 1 million up to 7 million GP an hour, specifically for people with mid-level stats. For many years, botting has crippled the RuneScape economy, but this year Jagex decided to finally nuke the bots. Items that have plummeted to all-time lows are finally recovering. Sunfire Splinters even touched 80 GP at one point, but currently they are peaking at almost 400. Completing wave 1 of Colosseum gives you guaranteed 80 of them. You can just claim it and instantly go again, which makes it one of the more consistent moneymakers in the game. Now, there's an item that makes this moneymaker way faster and a lot more enjoyable. Of course, I'm talking about Din's Bulwark. It has a special effect that powers up your strength bonus by having more defense bonuses. It might sound confusing, but all you have to understand is Barrow Stand gear is basically your best in slot. This setup only costs 16 million GP and it gives insane results. Just spec the Serpent twice and finish off everything with your main melee weapon. The next method could definitely be mistaken for something in Soup's unusual money-making guides. We are currently in Karamja searching some mysterious vines. Now the question is, what are they actually used for? Well, it is the only way to obtain snakeweed, and if you have done many quests, you know it's needed quite often. But we're not doing any quests today because it has another use. It's one of the 4 ingredients used to make Sandfew serums. The rest are super restores, crushed unicorn horn dust, and nail beast nails. If you wondered why this moneymaker isn't that well known, well, it's because of this stupid animation. It feels like the longest in the whole game. Now the only solution is tick manipulation. Now, I know most of you have avoided tick manipulation like it's a rumor of a plague spread by a corrupt ruler of a kingdom. But I will explain it so even a Billy Bob straight out of Tutorial Island will understand. All you need is either a teak or a mahogany log and a knife. Use the log on the knife and you begin a fletching animation. But before you finish,
hey yo!
Click the vine and you completely skip the searching animation. If you do it perfectly, your character will move instantly after your last click. Getting into a flawless rhythm can be very satisfying, but beware, obtaining the weed isn't guaranteed. It scales with your herblore level. But to make Sandfews, you already need 65 herblore, and by that point your chances are already decent enough to make a pretty penny out of it. Now, if I show you these two setups, one is worth 35 million GP, the other 750 million. Which one of them is better at Yama? Well, of course you're not dumb, you said the second one. But what if the first one had max melee stats, while the second one was only 80 strength and attack? Then, surprisingly, the first setup wins. Now, it's no secret that better stats are really important. But it's one of the most boring things to do, to sit sand crap hour after hour just to level your strength level once. What if I told you there are 3 moneymakers that you could do to get close to 100,000 melee combat XP while also making millions of GP? My favorite of them is killing Urium Shades. These bad boys have -3 flat armor, which means you will never hit below a 4 on them. And Salve Amulet works on them too, increasing both damage and accuracy. I would also highly recommend to use the Blood Moon set, because of the weapon being able to do 2 unique hit splats, basically increasing the minimum hit to an 8 from a 4. And I'm not even mentioning the set bonus. Now to actually get to them, you have to obtain a golden key, which is gotten by burning fire remains with magic logs. Now if you do not have 75 fire making, fear not. You can kill fire remains instead. They're slightly lower GP an hour, but slightly more XP an hour. And for them, you have to obtain a silver key by burning a sin remains, which only require 60 fire making. To extend your trips and make this moneymaker even more chill, you can make a gold coffin. Just bring a gold block to this NPC right near the entrance, and he will give you the coffin. which can store up to 28 remains, giving you basically a free inventory. Now you may be thinking this moneymaker will not be sustainable, as what in the hell is an Urium remain and what is it used for? Well, actually, it's a really useful item. By obtaining golden keys from them, you can open the golden chests in the middle of the room, which give you one of the best elite clue rates in the game. This method is used by top collection loggers, and they do not have time to kill shades themselves. So if Jagex does not add any new elite clue obtaining methods, this moneymaker will be here for a while. Before we tackle another method, if you have enjoyed the video so far, subscribe to the channel. I am completely new to YouTube, and if I hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I could have it monetized, which would mean more videos like this. Another great combat training method is Hueycoatl. Now, to be honest, it's probably a bit worse than Shades in the XP and GP aspect. But if for some reason the Shade prices crash, you can come here. And I have one big trick to reduce your supply costs tenfold. The gear itself looks very similar to our previous method, but you'll bring a strength amulet instead of a salve one. When you go to buy some supplies for Huey, buy blighted food and restores instead. Can you already guess what we're gonna do?
Bingo! How fun!
Don't worry, it's safe, and we will be using a solo instance. These are the boundaries of the safe zone. So just get here on a normal world. Once you're in the lobby, safe and sound, you can hop to a PvP world and instantly create your own solo fight. Now the XP rate is gonna be a bit worse than Shades, and the money making is gonna be way more inconsistent because there are a couple of drops that are worth a lot more than some other shittier drops. But if you ever get bored of Shades and wanna try something new, you can definitely try Hueycoatl. And for the last melee combat moneymaker, we're gonna be heading to the wilderness. Now, as a warning, it is going to be dangerous, so bring whatever you're willing to lose. And always have skull protection on. All three of the wilderness single bosses are highly profitable, but one stands above the rest. It's Spindel. Spindel drops the Voidwaker gem, which is the only Voidwaker piece that is actually worth something nowadays. So you can expect this moneymaker to be highly inconsistent, but if you get lucky, you'll be swimming in cash. Now, the only caveat is you need to have a hard wilderness diary completed for this money making method. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter the Spindel cavern. I also have a few tips to survive in the wilderness. First up is you always have to carry a 30 wilderness teleport at all times. Either a charged dragonstone jewelry or a seed pod if you have completed Monkey Madness 2. Second tip is you can install a plugin called Wilderness Player Alarm. Now this plugin will make your screen flash whenever there's another player on your screen in the wilderness. For it will grab your attention if a PKer will hop in a Spindel cave. If you do that, killing Spindel is very safe, and it's one of my favorite beginner money making methods because Ursine Chainmace costs under 6 mil, which is very cheap for how much money you can make here. While we're at it, let's cover the other 3 wilderness money making methods, because they are one of the best and one of the chillest methods I've ever seen. Let's start with a skilling one. It's actually Wilderness Agility course. It is located in the deepest of deep Wildy. That's why you need to bring freezing gear. The rules are, if you leave the course, you will lose your deposit of 150k, but if you log out in the course, you will only lose 10 laps of your count, but your 150k deposit will still be there. If you do end up getting attacked, try to freeze escape by either stepping under or finding something to break line of sight. If you do not mind risking a couple 100,000 GP, this course gives comparable XP to rooftops. You can think of it as almost getting 2 mil GP an hour while essentially training agility that you would have to train otherwise. I was shocked by this next method. The moneymaker in the wilderness where I made the most money is zombie pirates. They do require the medium wilderness diary completion, but as you already needed a hard one for the Spindel, this will be an easy one in comparison. Now, I highly recommend using a Venator bow if you have the money for it. If you do not, crossbow with some additional risk in ether is a good alternative, or a blowpipe if you don't want to risk any ammunition at all. Now with this method, you will set up your cannon in the southeastern corner of the peninsula because there will be an easy escape if you run south. But beware, zombie pirates do teleblock you, so if a PKer really wants to hunt you, he can definitely kill you here. That's why, for extra protection, you can set up an alt account at the north of the peninsula to scout the northern entrance just in case a PKer or a team of PKers show up to kill you. Now this method was completely insane. With a Venator bow, I was getting over 210k XP an hour with so many zombie pirate drops that I couldn't even feasibly pick them all up. Now you could bring an Amulet of Avarice. It works the same way here as it does in the Revenant cave. But having an additional risk to getting smited for your +1 in multi is not something to take lightly, so I would not recommend it here. The last wilderness money making method is probably something everyone has done, but it's still worth mentioning. It is Revenants. Everyone knows that Revenants drop very consistent drops very often. That's why it's a hotspot for PKers, and I would not recommend doing it unless you have the hard wilderness diary complete. Now if you choose to do Revenants, do Orcs or Dark Beasts, but Dark Beasts only if you're gonna bring telegraph spells for their loot because they reside just outside the 30 wilderness teleport line, and some PKers wait on the other side of the room just to catch you off guard when you're picking up your loot. Now if you want a chance to make extra profit with unique drops, you can go in there skulled, but beware, you will have to camp your protect item, otherwise you will lose whatever weapon you're using there. Now that we're out of the wilderness, let's cover one of my favorite and one of the best moneymakers on the list, which is Demonic Gorillas. Now they do have a steep requirement with Monkey Menace to completion and 69 Slayer, but if you do have the quest completed, it is one of the most consistently fun moneymakers because their most expensive drop, the Zanite Shard, isn't that rare, it's only 1 in 300, and if you do have any of the weapons made from synapses, it's gonna be very fast and very fun. But you do not need those weapons, as I have tried doing them with a zombie axe and an atlatl. These are the two sets I would recommend to bring. One is worth about 10 million GP, the other one closer to 70 mil. Even if you can only afford the lower setup, I would still do Demonic Gorillas. Here I have compared the two styles in their difference of kill time. We have covered so many combat methods. Maybe let's swing it the other way and do a little bit of skilling. What if I told you I have another profitable herb lore training method that is about 90 to 100k XP an hour? The method I'm talking about is Degrime. It's a spell that lets you degrime the whole inventory of herbs, which usually costs 200 GP each in Narda. So if you have some spare money laying in your bank, you can put an offer for a couple different herbs and watch a few thousand of them slow by. Whenever you have enough, you can just sit down from 20 minutes to a couple hours at a time and do Degrime, and sometimes you can get insane margins, so always check on the RuneScape wiki prices website. I cleaned about 40,000 herbs in 90 minutes. If you do your price checks correctly and you're not rushing to buy them, you will be making good money on the margins. While we're on topic for buyable money makers, another one is opening crystal chests. You can buy crystal keys or two of their components individually and combine them on your own if they do have a better margin than the keys themselves. The crystal chest will always be somewhat profitable because on every opening you will get a guaranteed dragonstone, which resells for more than half of the key's worth. This moneymaker has such a low requirement, it requires only 10 construction to change your house to towerly, so you can run up to the chest in about 10 seconds. When I tested this moneymaker, I found the sweet spot of keys is 7 at a time, because sometimes you annoyingly get the rune drop or the swordfish drop, which fills your inventory up and you sometimes need to leave before you open all your keys. One of my favorite highly profitable skilling methods is Zalcano. Zalcano is best done in 4 to 5 man teams, which is sometimes hard to find. That's why I suggest you join Zalcano host friend chat. there are always people looking to host or join other small teams for optimal gameplay. Now there is a chance to sacrifice your common drops for XP while still getting crystal shards and unique drops, and that might be appealing to some players, but I highly recommend to keep your normal drops on, because sometimes you can get like 200,000 or 300,000 worth of drops a kill. Now every kill you are guaranteed to get at least 2 crystal shards or 3 if you are the MVP. They make up about 40% of the profit you will receive from Zalcano, because you can break them down into dust and turn the dust into divine potions. At mid-level stats you will probably be making divine ranging potions, which currently are at a good profit margin. Another very competitive and easy to do moneymaker is smithing in Blast Furnace. The only hard requirement I would say that you need is a coal bag. You can still do it without a coal bag, but your experience and your money making potential will go down significantly. In my testing, I made steel and addy bars. It was repetitive but pretty easy to do. You also get very competitive smithing XP an hour, which is a nice addition to the already high amount of GP that you receive from this method. With the release of Maggot King, certain items have gone up tremendously, but only one item has caught my eye. It's a Twin Flame Staff. After the update, the staff price went absolutely ballistic. It has peaked ever since and now is going down slowly, but it's still above the pre-update price. With the individual crowns of Twin Flame costing over 4 million GP, it is now the best time ever to do this boss. Now Royal Titans are mostly known as a duo boss, but in my opinion, especially if you've gotten the amulet to teleport, it can easily be done solo. These are the 2 gear setups that I would recommend getting depending on your bank value. The second one averages 10 seconds slower on a solo kill. Now a few tips for those doing Royal Titans. You can get a claw spec in as your first attack after entering the room. Don't bother bringing any mage gear to kill the minions or the walls. Just tank the minion damage and open up the walls by standing on them while they appear. Utilize all your specs on the first phase, as the faster you get to the melee phase, the faster your kill will be. After the kill, teleport to house. If you do not have a pool in your house, don't you worry. You can teleport to another person's house in the house party world, restore your stats, teleport back with the amulet, and do this every kill. Now if you do not have the amulet, stay there for a couple of kills before you bank. Subscribe